Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Blessing the moment. This morning we're going to explore the idea of expanding our horizons. The idea of living outside the box that we have often created and placed ourselves in. When we are blaming people and circumstances which challenge us instead of finding the good, instead of finding the growth to be had by blessing them and moving through them. This week I came across the first song that we sang by Johnny Mercer and Harold Arlen because I think, and I wanted to use it because I think they're really onto something with these words that they're calling the attitude of doing right. This morning we're going to explore how Jesus accentuated the positive, eliminated the negative, latched on to the affirmative, and he definitely didn't mess with Mr. In-Between. Jesus was positive and resolute because he knew how to bless the moment. Whatever the difficulty or challenge that came to him, he faced it and found a way to turn it around by cultivating the attitude of doing right, as Mercer and Arlen's song suggests. So this morning we're going to explore how Jesus did this and how we can do it. In our generation, we witnessed the end of circuses where captive animals were forced to perform silly tasks as entertainment for us. And one of the most spectacular of these captive animals were the elephants. Once in a while, one of these mighty beasts burst its chains or its ropes in an effort to be free of its menial life in the circus. But mostly, many circus goers were intrigued and shocked and saddened to realize that these mighty animals could be held captive by only a small rope tied around one of its legs. A trainer was asked about this. He was asked why these huge, strong, magnificent animals just stood there and made no attempt to get away. Well, he said, when they're very young and much smaller, we use the same size rope to tie them, and at that age, it's enough to hold them. We continue to use that same size rope as they grow up. They remember that when they were very young, they had tried and tried and tried to break free from the rope, but they could not. So now, when fully grown, they are conditioned to believe that they cannot break away. They believe the rope can still hold them, so they never try to break free. The truth was that these animals, fully grown, could at any time break free from their bonds, but because they believed they couldn't, they were stuck right where they were. This sometimes happens to us as well in life. Like these circus elephants, how many of us are being held back by something that someone else once said, by someone else's limiting beliefs about us? Perhaps we have thought we cannot have a certain kind of experience, happiness, peace of mind, loving, supportive relationships, the needed healing that we desire, or some other form of good because someone told us we were unworthy, inept, inadequate, and we believe them. We believe that we were not enough to break free of the negativity. And we accepted and allowed it to make a home in our consciousness. And this has been the problem. How many of us go through life hanging onto a belief that we cannot be successful at something we deeply desire to achieve simply because we have tried and tried several times and failed before? How many of us are being held back by old, outdated beliefs that no longer serve us? And what about those of us who have avoided trying something new simply because we fear failing? Unity Minister Eric Butterworth always tooted the horn that said, our freedom and fortune begin with us. I agree with this because it has to do with whether we are attaching ourselves to the negative feelings generated by unpleasant experiences, or we are blessing a difficult process and leaving it behind by moving through it. It's really our choice. Even if we're not conscious that we have that choice, we have it. Now, let's take a look at what blessing is. An online dictionary states that a blessing is good fortune. We bless someone or we bless something often through affirmative prayer or encouraging words that we share. We lend our positive energy to another person for helping them to establish some good in their life situation. Anything that prevents misfortune or brings happiness or provides some kind of special benefit can be considered a blessing. It's like the feeling of peace that we can have about a loved one who is ill, because we know deep down that divine love, that's God's love, is working on their behalf, and that there is guidance being provided and healing that is taking place, even if we can't see it right now with our physical eyes. All things are established first spiritually, and in divine order, divine timing, divine love, they take shape and form in our outer expression. A blessing is the peace that we can receive when we are troubled about something, which enables us to see beyond those outer situations or appearances, beyond the surface level of lack, limitation, or loss, to know that God is providing what we need. Even in the midst of tragedy, God is there. Good is there. Said that good is the elongated name for God. This sense of peace, when our life is stormy, this peace in the midst of challenge or struggle is a blessing. The unity prayer protection is a blessing, because often when we use it, affirm it, hold on to the meaning of its words, we may experience a calmness and a peace that is all that we need spiritually. Using this prayer can bring peace and assurance in many situations that are anything but peaceful. Our Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore said that to bless means to evoke good upon someone or something, to call forth that good, to call forth the action of God, to confer God's good on someone or something. Fillmore wrote that when we bless someone or something, we help bring about the quickening of spiritual power that produces growth and increase. Now, some of you know that I enjoy reading the sayings found on t-shirts and posters that catch my eye. Well, here's something that I found written on a poster, which to me sends out a blessing to those who read it. It is uplifting and encouraging, which is what I think a blessing is to us. It reads, "In case you forgot to remind yourself this morning, your smile lights up the room. Your mind is insanely cool. You are way more than enough, and you are doing an amazing job at life." Wouldn't that be great to have a poster like that to look at and read before you go out into the outer world out there, where there's danger, danger, Will Robinson, seemingly in the outer. This poster can evoke a blessing on us whenever we would stop to read it. This blessing takes us to our happy place and can even connect us to the joy within us. Here's another which evokes how powerful we are in our ability to overcome the storms of life or the forms of adversity in our life. This was actually on the face of a necklace, and it read, "Fate whispers to the warrior, you cannot withstand the storm. The warrior whispers back, I am the storm." I thought that was powerful. In the song that we sang today, Accentuate the Positive, there are 7 processes listed. And Jesus used these 7 processes in his ministry of words and works. And they are available for us to use to bless the moments in our lives, especially when they seem most challenging. You know, it said that we can either curse the darkness or light a candle. Blessing the moment is the attitude of doing right. That of lighting a candle, when experiences in life seem dark to us. That Mercer and Arlen wrote about in their song. And I can hear my neighbor across the street mowing his lawn. I hope that's not too evident to you. Here are the key processes listed in Accentuate the Positive. Number 1, accentuate what's positive. When we are struggling with something, feeling anxious or fearful about the outcome, we can accentuate the positive. We can focus on and beef up what we can find that is good, inspiring, uplifting, and encouraging. Perhaps maybe not even in that particular situation, but maybe somewhere in our life at that moment. Number 2, eliminate the negative. This means to release or let go of what is hurtful or harmful or of no good use to us. Eliminate what in life is denying our good. Eliminate what is harmful to our bodies. This includes bad habits, our mental habits, which may be negative, our minds, our error thoughts. Number 3, latch onto the affirmative. What is your heart needing or desiring? God has it for you. Grab it with your hands, with your mind, with your heart. Hold on to that dream and let God work in your life to make it a reality. Number 4, don't mess with Mr. In-Between. That means stay away from the middle ground, like lukewarm decisions, like being wishy-washy. Learn to be decisive by releasing the doubt and the fear and the worry and uncertainty. When it comes to the good that God can work in your life, practice affirmative prayer and follow Jesus' guidance given in Mark 11:24 when he said, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, whatever, believe that you have received it and it will be yours." You see, there's a clause in there that seems strange. Whatever we ask for in prayer, we are being told to already believe that we've received it. And you know, it is true because, again, we receive things spiritually first. And then, in divine love, divine order, and divine timing, what we have received spiritually takes shape and form in the outer. The next 2 processes, number 5, spread joy to the maximum, and number 6, bring gloom down to the minimum, work together. Because when we are joyful, we can't help but spread it because others are able to catch this feeling from us. Joy is catchy. Jesus said in John 12:32, "And I, when I am lifted up from the earth, will draw everyone to me." Now, a lot of the time, this is thought of as meaning pertaining to Jesus' death and resurrection, which it does, being lifted up. But we can also think of this as an expression of what's happening right now. We are all connected, you see. We are not separated from each other, nor from God. And what affects one affects us all in some way, in our oneness. We all make up the body of God. If our spirit is lifted up and we have joy about something, just by being around us, others may be lifted up too. In John 14:20, Jesus said, "You will know that you are one with me, and I am one with you. In that day, you shall know that I am in my Father, and you are in me, and I am in you." So we are together in this. People often confuse joy and happiness, but actually they're not interchangeable because joy comes from within, regardless of what's going on around us in our lives. Happiness can be a blurred emotion, dependent on a situation, how well something goes or not. Joyful people make commitment to gratitude regardless of the circumstances. The Greek word for joy is chara. This describes a feeling of inner gladness, of delight or rejoicing. This inner gladness leads to a cheerful heart, and a cheerful heart leads to a cheerful behavior. The most important attribute of joy is that you can find joy even in adversity. You know, it can be a difficult idea to grasp because joy might be the last thing that we're feeling when we are facing struggles. God knows our sorrows, heartaches, and fears and calls us to rejoice anyway. This spirit in us wants us to live a full life of joy and promise, particularly in these difficult times we are facing during the worldwide pandemic. It may be difficult to be joyful. Our lives have changed, and we are facing adversity that is unprecedented. Certainly, many of us are not happy, but joy is an internal experience, and even through our own unhappy circumstances, we can find joy in the midst of the storm with our faith in God, the good. If you need help with this one, look up random acts of kindness online for several lists of ways to bring joy to yourself and joy to others. Because don't forget your own joy. When you are full of joy, others can catch the feeling from you. Jesus told us in John 16:24 to ask, and you shall receive, that your joy may be full. He said, hitherto, that means up to this point, you have asked for nothing in my name. Ask, he said, and you shall receive, that your joy may be fulfilled. The word joy appears nearly 200 times in the Bible, which helps us understand just how important this really is. Joy is a condition of the heart. People forget and think of joy as the same as happiness. Joy is from within, regardless of what's happening out there. Happiness depends on so many things out there. Six, bring gloom down. Let go the focus of gloom and doom when we have growth opportunities. Those gloomy and doomy experiences are growth opportunities. Can you believe that? It's true. Another poster I read recently said, "The flower that blooms in adversity is the most rare and the most beautiful of all," by Mulan the Emperor. Who that is, I don't know, but I like the saying. Number 7, have faith, or pandemonium may walk upon the scene. Mighty claims were made by Jesus about what faith can do. It can restore us to wholeness by bringing needed health. Many times after Jesus healed someone, he told them, "Your faith has made you whole." He taught that our faith can move mountains. In Matthew 17:20, he said, "If you have faith as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you." Moving mountains means if our beliefs, our confidence are strong enough, we can achieve the seeming impossible. In unity, faith is another of our 12 spiritual faculties. We were born with this, so we are never without faith, but we must learn to consciously use it rightly. It is our ability to say yes to the activity of God, which is the activity of good in our lives. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, wrote that faith is the perceiving power of our mind, linked with the power to give shape and form to invisible divine ideas. All around us are these invisible divine ideas, just waiting for us to connect with them, to grasp them, to incorporate them in our consciousness, to use these divine ideas, to give them shape and form, an expression in our outer life. Our faith is a magnetic power that draws to us our heart's desires from the invisible substance of God. Faith is that deep inner knowing that that which we seek is already ours, the moment that we truly accept it within. Faith, writes Fillmore, is way more than mere belief. It works by love. The ground of our ability to have faith in ourselves is the truth that we are all the offspring, or better, the expressions of divine spirit. This essence and presence and power in which we live, move, and have our being. We cultivate and strengthen our ability to call upon this spiritual faculty, and in fact all of our 12 spiritual faculties, consciously through our spiritual practices. You know, affirmative prayer, meditation, mindfulness, yoga, reflection on our life, study of spiritual materials, by cultivating joy, by enjoying our life, by laughing, by enjoying the people in our world, being ever ready to see the best in people and the best in situations that challenge us. So we may also learn to use these 7 processes in the Mercer and Arlen song. Here's a recap. Number 1, we're told to accent the positive. Emphasize, focus on the positives, the possibilities of good in people and in every situation that challenges us. Jesus told us that we are the light of the world and that we are loved and provided for unconditionally. The reason that Jesus could heal was that he accentuated the positive. He knew how to bless the moment, meaning he basically knew how to look beyond the appearances of lack, of dis-ease, disharmony. And he saw the wholeness. He saw the harmony. He saw the joy. He saw the peace within. And he was able to draw that out and help the individual give it shape and form. And so it became their healing, their prosperity. It became their peace of mind, or whatever it is that they were needing. Whatever it was that they were needing, Number 2, eliminate the negative. Release, let go of what's blocking our ability to see God, to see the good at work in the midst of whatever it is we're going through. Jesus could heal because he could see beyond. You and I can experience healing when we allow ourselves to look beyond the outer appearances. Jesus did say, judge not by appearances. Our faith can help us do this in our own situations. Number 3, latch onto the affirmative. Jesus was always very positive and affirmative. He said, he who sees me has seen the Father. I and the Father are one. He made all kinds of wonderful claims because he was in touch with his spiritual identity. And so when he said the Father and I are one, he meant in consciousness, he knew his oneness with that presence and power we call God. We can live joyously and abundantly in harmony, love, and peace, despite what's going on in our world and around it. And when we do this, we sing a song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. And the idea of letting that peace first be in us so that it can generate out into the world. And so it is the same when we cultivate our own joyous living, our own harmonious and abundant living. All of this energy, this positive energy, exudes us, expresses through us, and it can help touch another, help uplift another. Jesus said, it is God's pleasure to give us the kingdom in Luke 12:32. We must learn to be open to receive this good that God has for us. 5, we're told we got to spread joy up to the maximum. Allow ourselves to experience the joy of knowing who we are spiritually and act from this spiritual identity as expressions of God, made in the image and likeness of God, having the qualities we think of as godlike. Number 6, bring gloom down to the minimum. Stop focusing and empowering thoughts of doom and gloom. Doom and gloom gets its energy from us. Stop focusing and empowering thoughts of doom and gloom. Remember, we have within us the only presence and power that there is in the world. And it is working in us, through us, for us. Isn't that amazing? That's a wonderful thought. The only presence and power there is in the world is within me, working in and through me and for me. That's a wonderful affirmation. Number 7, have faith, meaning to use our inner quality of faith, because again, we always have faith. We were born with this quality. Faith in ourselves and in everywhere good. Faith that there is this good in everything, behind the surface of people and things. God bless you. And now let's join in a time of quiet as we reflect on some of these ideas in our meditation. And I invite you now to close your eyes. If you're sitting in a chair, just allow that chair to hold you up. Just go ahead and feel free to sink down in the cushions. If you're lying down, just stretch out and relax, okay? And invite you to take several deep breaths now. And let the air out easily, gently. And as you think about your breath, drawing in this good air, drawing in the blessing of life, and letting it move through your body as oxygen, invigorating, renewing you physically, and allowing you to focus your mind here as we enter this time of meditation. We know that it is our choice, and we can choose in whatever is going on. We can choose to accentuate, to emphasize, to beef up, to focus on the positive. And the positive is that which is helpful, uplifting, inspiring, supportive of ourselves and others. We can choose always to accentuate the positive. That means on the scale here, that the negative is part of the scale is hitting the ground and the positive is way up in the air. We can learn to latch on to eliminate the negative. We have the spiritual power called elimination, and that helps us release old ideas, unhelpful ideas, attitudes, beliefs, fears, anxiety, worry. Using our power, our spiritual gift of elimination, we can release these. Blow them out with your breath right now if you're feeling any of these: worried, fearful, tension, anxiety, anger. Blow these out with your exhalation. And have a sense that they're leaving. Or in your mind's eye, use the spiritual faculty of imagination and imagine these things floating through the air further and further away. And you might see them actually disintegrate into nothing. Because spiritually, there is no substance to them. There is no permanent, eternal, lasting substance to these negatives. These experiences are brought to us as gifts by karma so that we might stretch and grow and be challenged and grow and move outside our little boxes. Now, 3, latch on to the affirmative. Latching on something means to grab it, to hold on, okay? To close the gate so the affirmative doesn't get lost. Latch it. And we can latch on to the affirmative or affirmations when we state them over and repeat them until they become more than words. They become part of our being. And so then we begin living the affirmation that we are using. Number 4, we are cautioned, don't mess with Mr. In between. And so in our life, if we find ourselves unable to make a decision, on the line about something, fearing failure, and this causing us to hold back, we don't have to be there. We don't have to mess with Mr. In between, okay? As we take hold of our faith and place that faith in God, the good, we automatically can boot Mr. In between out the door. Number 5, we've got to spread joy up to the maximum. I remember seeing pictures of Jesus smiling, smiling. And some people love that picture, Jesus smiling, okay? Because it wasn't all doom and gloom and the cross, okay? It was the resurrection, the rising up, the moving through challenges, the spiritual growth, to recognizing his identity and his oneness with God. So,